Some big contests here on Tuesday that remind us they're all former President Trump's to lose because he's decided to engage in them. First off, in the Senate race, former football star Herschel Walker is coasting to a Republican win here. He'll take on the Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock in what promises to be one of the most expensive and divisive Senate contests this cycle. But it's the governor's race where former President Trump is perhaps most personally invested. Republican Brian Kemp facing a challenge from the former Senator David Perdue, who was put up to the race by Mr. Trump. Kemp, however, appears to be pulling away in what will end up being a general election matchup between the governor and his former Democratic opponent, Stacey Abrams. But there's another contest that we wouldn't normally focus on here on Face the Nation, the race for Secretary of State. Brad Raffensperger, like Governor Kemp, decided to stand against former President Trump's push to change the results of the 2020 election here in Georgia and somehow get him to win. Raffensperger's in a crowded field, and he's likely headed to a runoff election next month. But elections observers all across the country concerned that if he loses, it's a sign that someone like the former president can come in and try to manipulate elections.
Oh, my God. So, hey, everybody. Happy Monday to you. The first thing, got to tell Loretta is negative for the COVID. Wow, that's amazing. She will outlive us all. Brett's dad's good. He just had like a little heart ablation. We're dealing with family here. We're dealing with a lot of family issues. I will not be here tomorrow because Loretta has to move to assisted living. Yes, we're at that crux in the, in the crossroads there. And the fork in the road. So fork me. I got to move her into assisted living. I got to be there tomorrow to, do that. Thank God she's negative for the COVID, so she can do it. She can move. And that's what will happen tomorrow. Also, tomorrow is a primary day in various states across this here union. Alabama, Arkansas, Texas, there's a primary, a Democratic one, where you're going to have a pro-life and a pro-choice candidate vying for the Democratic nomination. I would go with pro-choice at this point. Sorry, got to say, Cuellar is, anti, and Cisneros is pro. This is important. We can't lose one single pro. We can't lose one single person who is on the side of privacy rights, which I keep going over, is the issue in Roe v. Wade. And then, of course, we have Georgia. Now, Georgia is interesting only in that you have Herschel Walker running for a Senate seat. Really? How in the world did America get so twisted up? How did we get so messed up? How did we get so third world that we literally have a guy who admits that he's got, death fantasies, a guy who's held guns to women's heads, a guy who, says that he's, suffering from mental illness, just coasting on in to being the GOP's nominee for the United States Senate. Oh, my God. And then, of course, in that report from CBS, they left out one of the contenders, one of the actual contenders for the governorship. Okay, so it's not just Brian Kemp running against, inside trader David Perdue. Everybody has forgotten why David Perdue lost his Senate seat, okay? He's an inside trader, just like Kelly Loeffler. These were people that patted their own, wealth on the backs of their constituents. But it's interesting that David Perdue decided that he was going to cleanse himself with some crazy, lie about elections being stolen from Donald Trump in the 2020. Just saying, but they left out that the race is not just between two people. You have another one. You have Candace Taylor. Anybody? Candace Taylor? Have you seen the bus? Candace Taylor is also running for the GOP nomination for governor of Georgia.
We are not ashamed. We're going to do a political rally and we're going to honor Jesus. We're going to say his name. We're not going to compromise. We're going to have Pastor Todd Coconato that came up here and delivered an awesome word. And we're not going to be ashamed, and they're not going to tell us separation of church and state. We are the church, and we run the state.
Oh, tax exemption, anybody? Tax exemption. That is Candace Taylor saying we are the church and we run the state. There is no separation between church and state in her Weird world, and it is a weird world. Did you see the bus? Show what's on my screen now. Thank you. See right there, Jesus, guns, and babies. Do you have to take all three, or is this a la carte? I don't know. Jesus, guns, and babies. You know, the guns and babies part are next to each other. These are the pro-life people, everybody. These are the pro-lifers. And she's appearing right there, if you'll notice, on Lindell TV. Mike Lindell, who's running Chiron at the bottom of her campaign stops, using the promo code blah, blah, blah at mypillow.com to save up to 66%, which is almost 666%, which would be Luciferian. It would be, very satanic, I have to say. The Jesus, guns, and babies, though, kind of gets you. We are the church. We run this state. So I guess if you're a resident of Georgia and you want a pothole fixed, you need to pray about it, is what her entire platform is. This country is so crazy. It is so nuts. It is so bat crap. It is so off the rails. It is so bizarre. And people are literally, trying to figure out whether or not we should call them out on this craziness, this wicked evil, this combi pack of guns and babies and Jesus. Really? That's a question? It's an issue for you? Holy crap. Now, this goes right beside a story in the homework today, which I tweeted out because this is just, I don't use foul language usually when I tweet, even to the most, trolly of the trolls, even to the most, live under the bridge types that, follow me and tweet at me. I'm usually really nice. But I had to tweet this out today, and I used the big F word because this is just so disgusting. It turns out that the Southern Baptist Convention agreed to an outside audit of sexual, not harassment, but sexual abuse of children and women, etc. And turns out that they have kept a running list, which they were asked to do for the victims who had complained that they were molested as children, that the pastors molested them, and they were told to shut up about it. And so some people had said, why don't you just keep a running list of the complaints? Why don't you just keep a list so that you can see if people are moving from parish to parish, people moving from church to church, to get a new set of victims after they appear on the list of people, who were complained about. Turns out that the church, the Southern Baptist Convention, that is the exact locale of who took segregation and then segued into abortion when abortion wasn't their issue, just because they wanted to keep politics in their wheelhouse. They wanted to pick people based on their desires, their hopes, their dreams. Anyway, the Southern Baptist Convention apparently has kept a list. They've kept a list of the perpetrators so that they could shield them. And the list is freaking long. It's really long. It's over 700 people. And they've known this for 20 years. They've known all about this, but they've allowed people who molest children. These are the groomers, everybody. This is why they're so verbal about child molestation and grooming and, because they're doing it. And this is classic projection. And so in Christianity Today, oh my God. In Christianity Today, there is a huge article saying they were right. I was wrong to call sexual abuse in the Southern Baptist Convention a crisis. Crisis is too small a word. It's an apocalypse. That's in Christianity Today. Guns and Jesus and babies. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.